What the fuck?
What's up everyone, it's me, the biggest nub on YouTube, Christendo here, and this is Super Mario Bros. Wonder, the game you cannot play without saying wowie zowie at least once. The Super Mario franchise was struggling in the 2D side for years. The new Super Mario Bros. Series, while being successful and garnering a lot of sales, was becoming stale and lacking the same creativity that was seen in the original 2D Mario platformer. In the year of 2012, fans of the Mario franchise were especially getting sick of the new Super Mario Bros. Games, as not only were there one, but two games in the series released the same year. New Super Mario Bros. 2 for the 3DS, and New Super Mario Bros. U for the Wii U. Nintendo seemed to notice fans were getting sick of this bland, unoriginal series of games, and decided it was time to step it up. Takashi Tezuka returns as the producer for Super Mario Bros. Wonder, with Shiro Mori, who directed the development for New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, taking the role of director. The game started development in 2019 after New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe was released, and the development team had no deadlines for a prototype version of the game, allowing there to be more time to develop ideas. During planning for Wonder, Mori was set on recreating the secrets and mystery feeling from the original Super Mario Bros. Game on the NES for the modern audience. Initially, the focus was set on updating transportation of Mario to different parts of the level, like warp pipes and vines, but Tezuka suggested to instead change the current location of the level. This idea is what created the Wonder Flower, a flower that causes drastic changes to the world around the player, and up to 2,000 ideas were pitched by the development team, with the best ideas being implemented to the final game. Super Mario Bros. Wonder was announced in the June 21st, 2023 Nintendo Direct, with the set release date of October 20th the same year for the Nintendo Switch. The game is the first original 2D side-scrolling Mario game since the release of New Super Mario Bros. U in 2012. This was also the first game to not feature Charles Martinet as the voice of Mario and Luigi, as in August of 2023, there was the announcement of Martinet stepping down as the voice of the characters and now taking the role of Mario Ambassador. Whatever that means. With Martinet stepping down, Kevin Ofgany, an American voice actor, became the new voice of Mario and Luigi. The game finally released on October 20th, 2023 and sold 4.3 million units in the first 2 weeks, making it the fastest selling Super Mario game. For my own personal experience with the game, I pre-ordered the game through Best Buy the first day pre-orders were available. On the launch of the game, I did a 24-hour live stream where I played through the entire main campaign and some of the post-game stuff, which I had a lot of fun with. Even after the stream, I continued to go for 100% by collecting all the collectibles and getting the tops of all the flagpoles. The only thing I haven't done are getting all the standees and finishing up the final secret level. When I do eventually finish these up, this would mark the first 2D Mario I've ever 100%ed, and the first game in general I would have done the same for in ages. Super Mario Bros. Wonder takes Mario and the crew to the Flower Kingdom, a not so distant neighbor of the Mushroom Kingdom, with 6 worlds surrounding the Petal Isles, the center of the kingdom. The gang meets up with the land's prince, Prince Florian, but of course Bowser's not far behind. Bowser steals the Wonder Flower and merges with the Flower Palace, becoming Bowser Castle. Bowser terrorizes the land, and it's up to Mario and friends to stop him to save the Flower Kingdom, with Prince Florian being an acquaintance on the adventure. Wonder has the biggest cast of playable characters in the series, taking all the characters from Super Mario Run besides Purple Yoshi, being Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Boo and Yellow Toad, Toadette, Yoshi, White Boo, Yellow and Red Yoshi, as well as Nabbit from the new Super Mario Bros. Games. All the characters control the same, which at first was upsetting since I wanted all the characters to have special attributes, but thanks to the badges, which we'll get into later, I think the similar movesets for characters works well. Nabbit and the Yoshis are the easy mode characters of the game, where they won't take damage from enemies and can only die from falling into a pit or lava, with the Yoshis having their flutter jump. I get why Nabbit is locked as an easy mode character, as that's what he was in New Super Mario Bros. U, but I wish with the Yoshis there was a way to turn off easy mode, as them being locked behind it is kinda stupid. On the topic of controls, I have to say this game feels the best to play in the series. I know I previously said the same thing in my Super Mario World review, however, despite the video releasing after Mario Wonder released, I started work on the video before experiencing Wonder. The game takes the fluid movement of Super Mario World, while also taking movement options like the spin jump and wall jump from the new Super Mario Bros. Series. I think the game does a great job taking the controls of an older title and modernizing them, making it really satisfying to perform moves. And while the triple jump isn't present in Mario's traditional moveset anymore, I don't mind as it makes Mario's movement more easy to predict. This game also has the best visuals and animation in the series. Much like the controls, it kind of takes inspiration with the older designs of characters and modernizes them. And I'm happy to say the bland plastic look of the new Super Mario Bros. Series is gone, and instead we have an art style that looks kind of similar to Rayman Legends, which I think looks really good. Mario as well has been given life to his character. No longer does he just look lifeless as he runs through levels, but now he makes expressions based on what's going on around him. For example, when he enters a pipe, he will jump into it rather than just slowly drop into it, and when he exits, he'll do a swinging animation before falling to the ground. While things like this are small, they go a long way into adding more charm and character to the game. And the music is wonderful as well. The entire soundtrack has a new yet nostalgic feeling to it. And what makes it even better is the fact that some tracks from previous titles actually appear in Mario Wonder through some of the break time levels. What I especially love about the soundtrack is there's different tracks for the level when you enter a Wonder effect, and when using the elephant power-up, the level's current track gets added trumpets. There's even some levels built around its music, making the experience of the level unique, as instead of just being a platforming level, it's also rhythm-based. Now back to the gameplay, let's talk about the power-ups. Of course, the Super Mushroom, Fire Flower, and Superstar appear once again, but Super Mario Bros. Wonder brings 3 new power-ups that we haven't seen anything like in the series before. flower, the elephant fruit, wowie zowie, bubble flower, and drill mushroom. Starting with the elephant fruit, wowie zowie! This one was the promotional power-up for the game, and all for good reason. The idea of a power-up turning characters into an elephant is so goofy that it just makes sense this is the power-up marketed the most. On top of turning you into an elephant, the power-up also allows you to defeat enemies with your trunk, run over wide gaps, and store water in your trunk, allowing you to water plants throughout levels to unlock secrets. Overall, it's a different take on traditional power-ups, so I like it. Moving on to the bubble flower, this power-up allows you to create bubbles to defeat enemies. To act differently from the fire flower, however, the projectiles are able to go through walls, allowing you to activate secrets, as well as the bubbles acting as platforms you can bounce off. This last ability is what made many fans, including myself, love the bubble flower, as having a power that is both helpful and allows you to better explore the level by creating platforms to reach areas you couldn't otherwise is such a cool and fun concept. In my opinion, this is the best power-up to be introduced in Wonder, and is one of my favorite power-ups in the 2D Mario series. And lastly, the drill mushroom allows you to defeat enemies that are dropping down onto you, and burrow into the ground or ceiling to reach secret areas or avoid enemies in your path. Again, just like the other power-ups introduced in Mario Wonder, this one is great with a unique concept we haven't seen yet in the series, but I find there's just way less uses for this one compared to the other two. It's still a great power-up regardless though, and it's a lot of fun to use. Usually at this point I would get into the levels themselves, but there's still a couple things new to this game that we had to discuss. To start at this game out of badges, a collectible you can use to change your moveset to make the game easier or harder. There's a total of 24 badges to collect in Mario Wonder, with there being 3 different types of badges: Action, Boost, and Expert. Action badges will give the player different abilities to their moveset, oftentimes replaced into Spin Jump, with some of these abilities being a faster running speed, a floaty high jump, or your cap acting as a parachute, allowing you to glide down slowly. Boost badges give the player benefits to help make the game easier, like giving you an extra bounce when falling into a pit or lava, being able to detect close by collectibles and secrets, or starting the level with a super mushroom. And finally, expert badges will grant advanced skills to add a challenge to the game, like making you run super fast automatically, jumping like a spring whenever you move, or making you invisible to yourself and enemies. Badges are able to be obtained through badge challenges, levels centered around a certain badge that will test your skills with said badge, or pop-one shops found throughout the game. I really like the addition of badges in Wonder. Not only do badges help new players adjust the game's difficulty to be a little easier, but they also give more experienced players the ability to make the game more challenging. Some of the action abilities are also just a lot of fun to use, like the wall climb jump badge that allows you to double wall jump on a wall, or are just super creative, like the grappling vine badge that will launch a vine from your arm, pulling you to a nearby wall. You can tell the dev team did not hold back on the idea with badges, and I'm glad they didn't. Now let's get a proper badge system in Mario RPGs, yeah? And the Wonder Flower, the key gimmick of this game, is absolutely wonderful. The Wonder Flower takes the world around you and gives it, or sometimes you, wacky effects. Upon touching a Wonder Flower, you enter a Wonder effect, and your goal is to get to the Wonder Seed to revert things back to normal. What I especially love about the Wonder Flower is you don't ever know what to expect, as each level has its own unique Wonder effect. You can go from singing piranha plants to a top-down perspective to becoming f***ing jelly. It's all over the place and I absolutely love it. I don't find any of these effects to be annoying or dreadful to play, which is rare for a game with so many ideas. I guess when the team picked from the ideas, they really did pick the best ones, as every new Wonder effect left a great impression. And lastly, let's go over the multiplayer Mario Wonder before we get into the levels. Instead of having your traditional online multiplayer seen in games like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, the game opts for a more unique multiplayer system in the form of live player shadows. Basically, this means you'll be able to see other players around the world playing levels in real time, but you won't be able to interact with them except through saving them if they die or giving them power-ups. At first, I thought this version of multiplayer was going to be stupid, as I wanted to be able to play the game normally with friends online. But after experiencing the system, I have to say I actually kind of like it, as it feels fresh and it's nice to see others playing alongside you. I do still wish there was an option to play normally with friends like 3D World and Switch, but this version of online multiplayer isn't bad at all. Now we can finally talk about the level. As previously mentioned, the game is divided among 6 worlds surrounding the Petal Isles. Starting with World 1, Pipe Rock Plateau, you start with the level Welcome to the Flower Kingdom. The level showcases the main new power-up, in this case being the elephant fruit, Wowie Zowie, and introduces you to the first Wonder effect, which is more tame than others, having pipes move up and down, and pipes that will start moving around the level. Personally, I think this level does a great job at introducing you to the game, as well as telling you this will be unlike any other experience you may have had with 2D Mario in the past. Following that level, you enter Piranha Plants on Parade, which gives you access to the Fire Flower for the first time, as well as the Piranha Plant enemy. This level's Wonder effect has Piranha Plants start singing as you make your way through the Wonder Seed, and I have to say, this was such an unexpected surprise. What? What is this? The level, while simple in nature, really tells you that you should expect the unexpected as you go further into the game, and I think it's one of the best levels in the entire game just with the Wonder effect alone. The rest of Pipe Rock Plateau remains pretty strong the rest of the way through, as after you play through the level where you're introduced to the Skedaddler enemy, you're given an open area where you're allowed to play with the levels in any order, with a set requirement of Wonder Seeds to collect in order to proceed. The levels in this area include riding a Stampede Bull Rush as you make your way to a giant-ass goal pole, and jumping off hoppos to make your way across the level. You also get the first couple of Breakdown levels, which are small challenges you can find throughout the game, where you collect Wonder tokens, do some Mario World music, which I obviously love, and run across the hardest bridge imaginable, where you have to hold right to get to the Wonder Seed. Man, I barely made it out of that one alive. After playing these levels, you should have enough Wonder Seeds to unlock the Wiggler race, whereas the name implies you raise a Wiggler to the end of the level, where he'll award you a Wonder Seed if you beat him. I like that on top of the normal normal platforming levels in the game. There's also little side challenges like Wiggler races and breakdown levels to let you take a break from the main levels and do something else. After being Wiggler, you're able to move forward to the next area that holds this world's palace, as well as a level focused around the previous Bull Rush Stampede Wonder Effect. You'll also be able to access the first of the badge challenges with the Wall Climb Jump badge, where you learn about the badge's ability to double wall jump on one wall. There's also more levels before the palace, such as the one where you're introduced to pipes that'll move up or down depending on weight, and the first KO arena, where your goal is to beat all the rooms of enemies as fast as possible to get all the 10 flower coins. Upon completion of these levels, you'll have enough Wonder Seeds to enter Pipe Rock Plateau Palace, the final level of the world. The palace kind of acts as the normal castle level from the rest of the series, however, a unique mechanic to the ones in Wonder is that enemies will respawn in as you make your way through the level. This palace's Wonder Effect is nothing too special, just having pipes around the level fall down from the ceiling, opening paths that wouldn't be accessible otherwise, and then you reach the boss fight. Going into the game, I was hoping we'd get unique boss fights like the one in New Super Mario Bros. DS thanks to the effects of the Wonder Flower, but spoiler alert, the only boss in the palaces is Bowser Jr. The boss fights aren't inherently bad here, but the fact that Bowser Jr. is the only boss you'll fight in the game, outside of something else we'll get into shortly, is kind of underwhelming considering how creative the game is. It would have even been cool to see the Koopalings play with the powers of the Wonder Flower, but unfortunately that's not the case. Anyways, the fight has you and Jr. switching sizes as the fight goes on, with you having to stomp on him 3 times to defeat him, and after he's defeated, you get the first Royal Seed, which will eliminate one of the Cloud Piranha plants surrounding Bowser. Upon completion of Pipe Rock Plateau, you'll have to go through the Petal Isles before gaining access to Fluff-Puff Peaks, the game's second world. In this little section of Petal Isles before World 2, you'll get access to the Dolphin Kick badge through the badge challenge where you maneuver around moving blocks, as well as a couple of water levels where you're introduced to the Smack Roll enemy, with the Wonder Effect having you use a giant one to destroy some of the landscape to get Wonder Tokens for the Wonder Seed, and a fairly normal water level with the Robert enemy, which will dive down at you, that has a Wonder Effect that will switch around the water and land. There's also an underground type level where you'll get the Bubble Flower for the first time with a Bluebird enemy, who shoot their beaks that create platforms after colliding with the wall. Upon completion of these levels, you can access Fluff-Puff Peaks and make your way towards the second Royal Seed. Fluff-Puff Peaks is a world consisting mostly of snowy and sky-based levels.
A snow world? I love snow!
These levels include the introduction of the Out of My Way enemy, who will kick giant ice cubes at you, a level where you traverse through a snowstorm, with the Wonder Flower causing a blizzard that'll make blocks of snow appear, along with the first search party level, where your goal is to find the Wonder Tokens hidden throughout the level. The gimmick of these levels is there's hidden blocks only certain characters can see, so to get the full experience, it's encouraged to play these levels with others. Now, what if you aren't playing with anyone, or just don't have any friends? What do you mean? I have friends. See? Well then you're shit out of luck, because then you'll have to jump around like an idiot trying to find these hidden blocks. I think these levels are my least favorite part of the game. Maybe it's because I didn't play them the way they were intended and instead played them alone, but these levels felt more like a chore than actually fun, and this first one isn't even the worst offender. A few of the tokens are pretty straightforward, being in the background, in an area where you had to jump down, or at the beginning where there's hidden blocks you had to hit to introduce you to the gimmick, but the other two are just annoying. The first one you can see, but can't reach, so you have to look around until you find a hidden block that will summon a vine for you to climb. The last one, it gets even worse. You'll look around the whole level expecting it to be somewhere near the start, since it's the second Wonder Token and the indicator of which ones you've collected, but then it ends up being near the end in the area with all the different pipes, and as you can guess, a fucking hidden block. Go ahead, call it a skill issue all you want, but after this first search party level, I was drained the fact there will be more in the game. After the dreadful search party level, you should have enough Wonder Seeds to open the lock level, where you get to see the Condor enemy for the first time, which dart at you when you pass them and get stuck in the wall. This Wonder Effect is one of my favorites in the game, putting you in a top-down Zelda type game mode. From there, there's a couple more levels, like the one with the pole blocks that'll go crazy when in the Wonder Effect, and the level with the platforms that'll start to disappear if there's weight on them, with you becoming one of these platforms after touching the Wonder Flower. And after all that, you'll get access to the first of the game's airship levels. The airship levels in this game are auto-scrollers, with this one having the enemy that creates fireworks when attacked, allowing you to use them to destroy blocks containing secrets. This level's Wonder Effect, along with all the other airship levels, has Bowser in the background shooting a laser at you that'll destroy blocks upon impact. After surviving the level, you get to the airship's boss room, which kinda gives off a factory vibe. Now, what could the boss be? Kamek? Something totally new we haven't seen yet? Well, it's certainly new, but I wouldn't say it's particularly interesting. The room houses a mechanical Bowser head that has a switch on top of it you have to jump on, with the obstacles in the way being bombs and pillars that try crushing you. Yeah, this boss fight is easy as hell. It's basically done when it started, and it's this way for all the airship bosses. Like, Kamek isn't even a boss in this game. The most he does is summon the airships, and besides that, he just kind of exists. It would have been cool to see him as a boss, as he already uses magic, and with the Wonder Flower, it can make for some killer boss fights, but unfortunately he's nowhere to be seen outside of some cutscene. Moving on to Fluff-Puff Peak's Palace, it's more of the same as the last palace with enemy summoning as you progress the level, but this one's Wonder Effect has you becoming stretched, with some elements of the level affected depending on if you're crouching or not. The fight against Bowser Jr. is only slightly different, with the floor in the arena this time moving up and down, and it turning into ice and goo. As usual, beating Jr. gives you a Royal Seed, which you can once again use to eliminate one of the Cloud Piranha plants surrounding Bowser. Upon re-entering Petal Isles, you had to collect more Wonder Seeds in order to access Shining Falls. Since I already had most of of the Wonder Seeds from the area before, I only did the Wiggler race, where you had to beat them in a swimming race. As I've already said, these levels are great to break up the traditional platforming gameplay with a fun challenge, and while this one is water-based, it's still fun thanks to the Dolphin Kick badge. Moving into World 3, Shining Falls, the world acts as a big trial you must complete to get the Royal Seed. You first start out by going to the Master Poplin's house, where he'll tell you there's trials to complete in order to get the Royal Seed, with these trials being the levels throughout the world. Why doesn't the bastard just give you the Royal Seed? It's not like the world's in danger or anything. These levels consist of avoiding angelfish while also using them as platforms in the effects of the Wonder Flower, a level with the Hobby Cat, an enemy that will jump when you jump, with the Wonder Effect summoning giant Hobby Cats you'll have to use to destroy the landscape to make a path to the Wonder Seed, and another level with Hobby Cats, this time having you chase one to get the Wonder Flower, with the Wonder Effect turning you into a Hobby Cat and having you jump high in the sky to get the Wonder Seed. There's also some more break time levels, like one where you swim through draining water to get Wonder Tokens, or finding hidden blocks to overcome a wall that's too high to jump over, as well as a badge challenge where you get the crouching high jump badge and have to jump over enemies with it. The final trial has you traveling across zip dash tracks and avoiding enemies in your path as you speed through the level. Upon completing the level, you get access to Shining Falls Palace and... Wait, the Master Poplin just gives you the Royal Seed? He had it the whole time? Your whole goddamn kingdom's in danger and you want to play some silly games by making us do some silly levels to get the Royal Seed? The one thing that will save your kingdom? Who's the real villain of the game? But seriously, why is there no boss in this world? Sure, Bowser Jr. being the only boss in the game is lame, but having no boss at the end of the world is even lamer. Regardless, with you now getting the third Royal Seed from this prick, your journey is halfway over and you can once again rid of one of Bowser's Cloud Piranha plants. Since you're now halfway through the game, you can do the final 3 worlds in any order you want. In order to do this, however, you'll need to collect a total of 15 Wonder Seeds and Petal Owls to access all the remaining worlds. While in my playthrough I did the worlds in order, I decided to just knock out the 15 Wonder Seeds before proceeding on with the game. The levels I did in order to achieve this were the one where you swim up rain clouds to complete the level, with the Wonder Flower taking you into a lightning storm you must survive to get the Wonder Seed, and the introductory level at the Drill Mushroom, where there's a ton of jewel blocks with Kongs trying to crush you. At this point, since I got plenty of Wonder Seeds from the previous areas and Petal Isles, I had all the Wonder Seeds I needed, so I headed my way to World 4, Sunbaked Desert. Sunbaked Desert, as mentioned in the name, is the game's desert world. However, despite the desert theming, this world is unique by taking place in a huge open area, making it the least linear world in the entire game. And on top of that, unlike the last world, we're back to having a palace at the end of the world. Woo! In order to get the Wonder Seeds to unlock the palace, you have to go through levels having you do stuff like jumping off bouncy platforms while avoiding Snoodles, with the Wonder Effect slowing down everything around you, solving a puzzle revolved around on-off blocks with the Wonder Effect summoning a shadow clone that mimics your every move, avoiding armors that roll after you while the Wonder Effect makes everything in the level move faster, using handles to reveal hidden areas in the level, with this gimmick being used as you chase the Wonder Seed and the Wonder Effect, and avoiding rolling spike balls and revers, with huge spike balls coming after you Indiana Jones style after touching the Wonder Flower. There's also some break time levels, in this case being one where you have to traverse a dark room to get to the Wonder Seed, another having you use the Drill Mushroom to break blocks and crates to find the Wonder Seed, and then one more having you use a rever enemy to destroy blocks to let you grab the seed. There was also KO Arena that has you fighting enemies introduced to the world, as well as another badge challenge for the Parachute Cat badge that tests your current skill of handling the badge. Sunbaked Desert Palace has you avoiding fire bars and thwomps that spawn in, with the Wonder Effect taking the previous slowing down the level and making a faster mechanic introduced earlier in the world and combining it. You then reach Junior for the millionth fucking time, and his fight takes place in the water he stole, with each phase having the water do something different, like being on the ceiling or in a bubble shape, nothing too crazy. Beating Junior will of course give you the 4th Royal Seed, with there now being only 2 more to get before being Bowser. World 5 is Fungi Mines, but before being able to get there, you have to beat the Petal Isles airship. I think of the airship levels in Wonder, this one is my favorite because of its mechanic of having you use little clouds to fly through the level while avoiding bullet bills and fire bar. Just like the last airship, the Wonder Effect has Bowser aiming a laser at you that you can use to destroy blocks for secrets, and the boss is against the Mecha Bowser machine, this time having you avoid fire bars as you make your way to destroy it. After defeating this insanely challenging boss, you get access to Fungi Mines, where some Poplins get stuck in the caverns trying to get the Royal Seed for us that we must save. You know what that sounds like? Another world without a boss? Woo! After paying the greedy loyal Poplin flower coins to fix the bridge, you get to play levels having you platform across mushrooms you can only get past by using the flying flower triggers, with the Wonder Flower summoning jack-o'-lanterns and making enemies dance, swinging across taily enemies with the Wonder Effect quizzing your knowledge of the game, avoid risks being caused by cracks in the multiverse, in the level that come together to create a shadow clone of Mario when you touch the Wonder Flower, and then a level having you maneuver through goo while avoiding Kongs and Wubbas, with the Wonder Flower turning you into a Wubba, making your goal to follow a path to get to the Wonder Seed. As in every world, there's a couple of break time levels, this time being another one with music from a past game where you have to defeat trotting piranha to get the Wonder Seed, and another where their level rotates and you have to get the Wonder Seed while it does this. Following these, there's the Grappling Vine Badge Challenge where you get to become Spider-Man and traverse the course using your vines, and a couple more levels, including the one where the level is shifting back and forth with the slide-ons you must avoid or use to continue through the level, with the level getting a layer of slippery goo and the Wonder Effect, as well as the final ruins, having you use the trigger flowers to open up more parts of the level as you race the poison to avoid dying, with the Wonder Effect once again turning you into a Wubba, having you traverse a more difficult path this time to get the Wonder Seed. Upon beating that last level, you go through the hardest final level ever as you hold right to touch the trigger flowers that get rid of the blocks blocking off the Poplins who got trapped. Upon saving the Poplins, you get the second to last royal seed, with the last one being in the next world. Before entering World 6, Deep Magma Bog, we have to beat a couple of levels, like the one where you had to avoid the Magma enemies trying to eat you, especially when you turn into a Goomba after touching the Wonder Flower, and the boosting spin jump badge challenge, where you're able to learn about how high the jump can boost you, and the ability to jump midair with the badge. There's also one more level that takes inspiration from the infamous Muncher level from Super Mario Bros. 3, where you had to run across a field of Munchers with the star power-up, with the platforms in the level coming alive in the Wonder effect. And finally, you reach Deep Magma Bog to get the last royal seed. In order to do this though, you need to beat the high jump badge challenge 2, where your skills with the badge are tested through a speedrun type level, and levels such as the one where Rumbos roll around that you have to avoid with you turning into a spike ball in the Wonder effect, the level with the blocks that only show up when you get near, with the Wonder Flower causing you to go to another top-down type level, where you have to find your way through the maze before the lava gets to you, another badge challenge, this time testing your abilities with the grappling vine badge as you ride track rails to complete it, and another level centered around the handles you must use to clear the path of fire wheels, with the Wonder Flower giving you the ability to swim through lava as you search for Wonder tokens while avoiding enemies. This world also features the last airship level of the game, with this one focusing on using the handles to get rid of the fire on the burners and platforming across pole blocks. And the boss in this one is Kamek. Wait, did you think I was serious? Nah, it's one of those Bowser mech things again, where you need to use the handles to get rid of the flames to hit the switch, or you could just damage boost like I did to defeat this super duper hard boss. After this, there's one more KO arena where you had to once again defeat the rooms of enemies to get the Wonder Seed, and one more final level before the palace where you ride platforms through the lava that is both on the ground and ceiling while avoiding fire spikes, with the Wonder Flower summoning a giant fire spike statue in the background you need to survive the attacks of to get the Wonder Seed. And for the final palace of the game, Deep Magma Bog Palace, you platform across spinning skeleton platforms while avoiding the fireballs being launched by Muramuras. The Wonder Flower once again turns you into a Wubba, making this the most used Wonder effect in the game, and for good reason as it's fun to use, and you have to ride on the spinning skeleton platforms in this form to get to the Wonder Seed. The final fight against Bowser Jr. isn't anything too special as usual, but this one is a bit more interesting than the other fights against him, as at some point in the fight he'll create copies of himself you have to avoid while trying to defeat him. The fight is still pretty easy though, and after defeating Bowser Jr. for the last time, you'll get the last royal seed you need to go face the king of the Koopas himself. Going back into the Petal Isles one last time, Bowser tells us he's ready for his epic wonder, and that he'd be willing to give us a preview if we're brave enough to venture into the castle. However, Bowser isn't quite ready by the time we enter the castle, so we get the opening act with his minions. The first act is the level with the Missile Meg enemy that you have to ride in order to make it across the level, with the Wonder Flower taking this to the next level, with there being a lot more summons that you'll have to both ride and avoid to get the Wonder Seed. The next show has you going through a gauntlet full of electricity blocks and metallic enemies that'll electrocute you if you jump on them when they conduct electricity, and the Wonder Flower takes the Metal Cat power up from Super Mario 64 and gives it to you here, making you invincible to the electricity when in the effect. Following the gauntlet, the next performance has you evading secret bullet bills that will target you while you open the path with trigger flowers. The Wonder Flower in this one will put you on a ship in poison with a cannon you have to use to clear a path to the Wonder Seed. And for Bowser's grand semi-finale, you get to experience Knucklefest, a level having fiery knuckles that will try to hit and crush you as you make your way through it, with some platforms on rails you can only move by jumping or ground pounding on. This Wonder Flower has you doing a goofy pose upon touching it, and you have to survive Bowser's blazing beats to get the Wonder Seed. After surviving these last few challenges thrown at us by Bowser, it's time for the game's final battle in Bowser's Rage stage. I have to say this is one of, if not my favorite level in Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It starts off with one last fight against Bowser Jr. Son of a bitch! Or not, because he gets punched out of existence. No, this level is basically the ultimate Wonder challenge, as it throws a lot of the effects from the game at you in one final Wonder Gauntlet. The level starts off with the fiery knuckles from the previous level, and then is followed by the giant spike ball that rolls down at you Indiana Jones style. From there, one of the dragon skeletons roll down at you, with the dragon coming alive and you running on it until you reach the pole blocks that spawn in as the screen scrolls. After climbing the poles, you'll get ambushed by a bull rush stampede, and the fucking singing piranha plants return with an encore featuring spikes, the door enemies, and King Boo. Fucking King Boo. That part is easily the peak of this level. Anyways, from there the level becomes zero gravity, with you having to float around pipes and poison bubbles, and then the moving pipes return, charging towards the final destination to the fight against Bowser. Now, despite Super Mario Bros. Wonder's lacking boss fights, the final fight against Bowser is such an amazing one and could rival as being one of the best in the series. The goal is to hit the switch below Bowser's chin to defeat him, and to do so, you have to time your jumps with a beat in order to reach him. Phase 1 of this fight is fairly straightforward. You have to time your jumps to hit the switch while avoiding the fire piranha plant music notes he throws at you, then after hitting him once, he'll retreat into the background, with you having to destroy his hands in order to have the opportunity to attack him again. After this, Bowser will once again retreat into the background, and you'll have to avoid a barrage of fire piranha plant music notes to get to phase 2. Phase 2 is more of the same thing, except this time Bowser has 3 hands you have to defeat, and the floor is half pink, half blue, meaning only every other beat will make the floor on a certain side of the stage to be able to boost you up to attack. After beating him in phase 2, he'll once again shoot the music notes at you, however they'll come from both sides in this transition to phase 3. Phase 3 gives Bowser 4 hands you need to defeat, as well as having the floor half pink, half blue like before, but in smaller pieces for each color. Bowser will also throw spike balls you'll have to avoid, and after hitting him for the final time, a switch will open up on his head you'll have to platform up to hit. Upon defeating him, Bowser will be unmerged from the Flower Palace and the Wonder Flower he used at the beginning of the game, and the Flower Kingdom will be saved, bringing you to the conclusion of the game. And that is Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Even though there were some parts of the game I may not have enjoyed as much as others, I'm looking at you search party levels. The game was still fun to play and made me excited again for what the future of 2D Mario could hold. When I reviewed Super Mario World, I previously gave it a number rating, but since I think the 1 through 10 rating system is kinda cringe, I decided from now on we'll add these games to a tier list. Just to get Super Mario World out of the way as it's not the focus of this video, I'll put it in the S tier because I love the game a lot. However, despite how great Super Mario World may be, I think it's only right to put Super Mario Bros. Wonder above it in the S tier. Mario Wonder was such an amazing new direction for the 2D Mario series, and I think it's gonna be hard for other games to top it. To wrap up, Super Mario Bros. Wonder was the game the 2D Mario series has needed for years. Not only was it unique, but it was also completely crazy with its level design thanks to the Wonder Flower. With the Wonder Flower, it was impossible to predict what could happen, and it was just so chaotic that at this point I wouldn't be surprised if the multiverse existed. But who am I kidding? That's nonsense. Just like the idea of a post-credit scene in a Mario review, that would never happen, right? Right? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if the multiverse existed. But who am I kidding? That's nonsense. What is this thing? I don't think it's that, but it's similar in a way. It has like the same mechanics? I don't know, but I gotta figure that out. Wait a second. Is that me?